तो ओके, अपन नेक्स्ट क्लास से अपन शेयर कर सकते हो उसको.
ठीक है, नो प्रॉब्लम.
ओके. Okay. So should we begin?
Yes.
Okay. So good morning to all of you. And from today onwards, every Saturday, we are going to have a session on a very important sutta, which is very dear to our teacher, Dhyanacharya Nagajiva. We know him by the name Dr. Lim Siaojin. So we begin with paying respect to him. So in the course of coming weeks, we are going to deal with or study together this very important sutta, which is titled as Satipatthana Sutta. So this word Satipathan is derived from an ancient classical language of India known as Pali language. And in Sanskritic traditions, it will be called the Smruti Prasthan. And Sutta means, of course, Sutra. So when we gloss over this terminology or the words, we can look at what do we mean by Sati and what do we mean by Pathan and what do we mean by Sutta. So we begin with a cursory look at what is called the Sutta. So Sutta is the teaching of the Buddha. And over the period of 45 years, the Buddha has given many teachings throughout the length and breadth of India, which were compiled together and handed over down to us throughout the history, and they are known as the Sutta. So they are the recorded teachings of the Buddha by his disciples, and later on went on through the compilations over the period of time, and now they are in our hands as the authenticate words of the Buddha. This sutta is found in Pali Tripitaka. This sutta is also found in Sanskrit Agamas, which is called the Buddhist hybrid Sanskrit. The Chinese version of this sutta also exists. So basically, when we say sutta in Pali language, in Indian languages or in Sanskrit, we can call it sutra. And it has a connotation of a thread or weaving together. So it's like weaving together the teachings of the Buddha. Now, when we look at all different translations which have been done over the period of time, we are going to study the translation done by Venerable Nagajiva, our own Dhyanacharya Nagajiva, who has translated this sutta in English, mainly based on the Pali text, but also in his own deeper experience and understanding. Master Nagajiva has given a very clear sort of exposition or translation in English, deriving from his background in studying the sutras in Sanskrit, in Pali, and in Chinese. So we get a very conclusive sort of a translation, which I hope is available with all of you. So every sutta, as it were, begins with what is called the beginning opening statement, and it goes like this. If you look at the text that is available with us, handed over to us by Dhyanacharya Nagajiva, it begins with what is called, "Thus have I heard." And these words, three words in Indic languages. In Pali, it is called Evam Me Sutang, and in Sanskrit, it is called Evam Maya Shrutam. Thus I have heard. So this is what is heard by his disciples. and one can go on talking about these three words for a long time, but we are not going to do it in this context today. But suffice here is to say that these are the words of the Buddha which are heard by his disciples. So every sutta has a context. Every sutta has what is called the geographical context, the context of time, and it's reported as to where the sutta was delivered or the sutra was spoken by the Buddha. Then the sutta goes into the main body, the teachings of the Buddha, and then the end and conclusion. So basically three parts. Every sutta, if we look at the sutta, there are three parts. One is the context in which the sutta was delivered, the teaching of the Buddha was delivered, the main body of the sutta, and lastly, the end or the conclusion of this sutta. So likewise, this sutta, Satipatthana Sutta, has the same sort of structure. Why do we study sutta? And this is very well explained in the Satipatthana Sutta as well. Why do we have to study sutta? Because the study of the sutta is very important. The Buddha says that you have to understand the sutta, you have to study the sutta. Why? Why do we study the sutta? Because when we study the sutta, it enables us to have a clear practice. So the first aspect is to study the sutta, the second is to practice, and the third is to realize. So these three aspects we need to bring together when we study the sutta. The aim of the sutta is, either the sutta will prescribe us certain exercises, certain practices, or it would urge us to bring some radical changes in the way we live. This sutta is about many exercises that are there in this Satipatthana. And we are going to study all these practices which are taught by the Buddha in this sutta over the period of time. But we keep this in mind that we study the sutta with a view, with an aim to practice it. And why do we practice it? To realize it, to free our minds. And we are going to look at that. This is going to be a very interesting journey. So let's look at the word sati. Now, sati, as I told you, in the Indian languages, it's called smriti. And smriti has a connotation of memory or recollection. One of the connotations or one of the meanings of smriti is memory and recollection. But here in this context, we use the word that has been given by Venerable Nagajiva here in this particular context is the awareness. So sati, we understand here as the awareness. And if we look at what's happening in the world today, this word is also very popularly known as mindfulness. If you just Google the word mindfulness, you will begin to see that there are hundreds and hundreds of pages on mindfulness. But our teacher chose to translate it as awareness. And one of the connotations of the meaning or the meaning of the word sati is also attention. So we know that the basic quality of our mind is to be attentive, because without attention, our mind cannot survive. As I'm speaking to you now, because you are aware, you are attentive, you can listen to me. Because you are attentive through your sense of eye, you can see what is there on the screen. Because of attention, we can smell. Because of attention, we can test, we can touch. So attention is the natural quality of the mind. It's always there. But this attention of ours, which is there, is very rudimentary. It is not trained, it is not focused. So to be aware is the quality that we all have, we are all endowed with. But as I said, that it's very feeble. Sometimes it's not trained. Sometimes we cannot hold our attention for a long time because our mind naturally are scattered. They go here and there. They are like uncontrolled. Our minds are all also uncontrolled. that we need to find the domain where we can focus our minds, we can be attentive of certain things. So when we talk about the word sati, keep this three connotations of the word sati in your mind: memory or recollection, and we are going to see how that unfolds over the period of time. Secondly, awareness. This is the word that has been chosen by Venerable Nagajiva. And attention, being attentive. And the more popular word which goes on in the world is mindfulness. But in these classes, we just understand the meanings of this beautiful word sati, and we use the word sati because sati is a very short and very sweet word, and also it has got a connotation in a sense that helps us, practice. Is the connotation of sati being a feminine noun? It has that quality of being gentle, being open, being receptive to what we are going to attend to. So I think please bear this quality of sati in your mind, the feminine quality of sati in your mind, to be open, to be receptive, and to be gentle. So once we understand these very many connotations of the word sati, we keep the word sati in our course, as it were, constant. We don't change it. We use the word sati because it's a very, very short, very sweet word. Proceeding on from that, there is another word, a compound, the sati and pathan. So the pathan word in Sanskrit, it will be called upasthan, means go near to or take near to, or as translated by our Venerable Nagajiva as the foundation, as the ground. So this is the ground, and we are going to study the grounds where we are going to cultivate this sati. And of course, sutta are the words or the teachings of the Buddha. So the title of the sutta is Satipatthana Sutta. Now, Satipatthana is a very profound teaching given by the Buddha. It's praised by the great Nagarjuna, for whom our teacher has such an affection and love for. It is the teaching that the Buddha gave at the beginning of his career as a teacher. And he has given he has given the teaching of Satipatthana throughout his life, throughout his career of 45 years. At the end of his life also, he has stressed on Satipatthana. So Satipatthana is we can say, is the heart of the Buddha, is the teaching that's so dear, so close to the Buddha. And I would say in the beginning that we are having this very good context to study this very beautiful sutta, Satipatthana Sutta. And as I said, the intention to study the Satipatthana Sutta is to practice it. And there are many practices which we are going to look into over the period of time. There is a beautiful story which the Buddha has told in Pali text. It's called Sakkunaggi Sutta, which means in English it can be translated as the Hawk Sutta. So there is a bird which we all may be familiar with called the quail. And the quail is being carried by the hawk in the air. And the quail laments that had I not left my own territory, my own domain, this powerful hawk would have not overpowered me. I'm so unfortunate because I wandered in a foreign domain, in a different territory, in a foreign domain, in a different territory, that this hawk has taken me as a hostage. And it's very difficult for me to get out of the grip of this hawk, because the hawk is a very strong bird. It's carrying the quail. So quail is lamenting, and the hawk says, okay, go now, I leave you. But while you are gone, I will catch you again. I will take hold of you again. So the quail is released, and the quail goes on to a very recently tilled farm. It's a recently plowed farm. and that quail goes into a mound of the earth, and from that mound of the earth, the quail comes up, and the quail says to the hawk, "Now come and get me." So with all power, the hawk snoops down to attack the quail and to get hold of the quail. But as the hawk nears the quail goes into the earth mound, and the hawk is, dashed or hit on that mound, and it cannot capture the quail. So the Buddha says, we are all like quail. We wander aimlessly in the foreign domain. And the Buddha says, what is this foreign domain where we all wander? The Buddha says that we wander in the domain of sensual sphere, of the word of sensual word, of forms that we see through our eyes, sounds, pleasant sounds, enticing forms, tastes, touches, smells, and all these fanciful ideas that goes on in your mind. This is the foreign domain. If we wander there, we are sure to be overpowered by the very much power of the hawk-like power of the word of the sensual world, and we will be captured and we will be defeated. The Buddha says that we have to wander in our natural habitat, and that natural habitat where our mind should wander, where mind should dwell, is the domain or the foundation of Satipatthana. So the Satipatthana has the 4 domain where we have to cultivate our awareness, where we have to cultivate our mindfulness. So with this preliminary, what I'm going to do today is to just introduce you today to the sutta, and in the next class onwards, we are going to look at the exercises which the Buddha has taught us to cultivate our awareness, to cultivate our minds, so that we are free, so that we cultivate that purity within. So I'm going to just go look at the preliminary today, reading the text as handed over to you, over to us in translation by Venerable Nagajiva. So let me begin, and I will give us commentary on it, and you please note down whatever doubts you have or whatever clarification you need, because we are going to discuss those things which arise in your mind as a way of confusion, or if you want to have some clarity. So the sutta, of course, begin with, "Thus have I heard, evam me sutang," or evam maya shrutam. So this is the context of the Satipatthana. So once Bhagava in Kuru. Now Kuru is a place in India which is considered to be Kurukshetra, or near to Kurukshetra, near Delhi. Some people say that it's Delhi itself. But whatever, the location is just about there. So the Bhagava is an epithet, one of the epithets of the Buddha. There are many epithets of the Buddha, and we have seen that in Diamonds, the epithet like Tathagata was used. So here the epithet for the Buddha used is Bhagava. So once Bhagava in Kuru, so in that area, northern India, the Bhagavan was dwelling at the market town of Kammasadamma. Very interesting. See, whenever we talk about meditation, or when we talk about cultivation of mind, we think about some remote place in the cave or in the deep forest or in some isolated area. But here you can imagine a situation that this is like a modern town. So market town is, of course, at that period is like the busy town, like Chennai or Delhi or Bombay or Pune or whatever. So the Buddha is teaching this very sublime teaching of Satipatthana. We can imagine that the market is closed now, and the people or the traders and the customers are assembled to listen to the Buddha. Very significant. You see, we have this idea of meditation, and it's true that we need a place where we have minimum distraction. If we are continuously being distracted in that time and place, that's not an ideal place for meditation, to cultivate the awareness or cultivate the mindfulness or cultivate sati. We need an ideal place, but if we do not have it, it doesn't matter, because the practice can be done anywhere, even in the busiest of the places in the world. The mindful the awareness can be cultivated, the sati can be cultivated. So very significant. Once Bhagwa in Kuru, at the market town of Kammasadamma, there Bhagwa addressed the monks. So you see, that was the way the Buddha addressed. He said Bhikkhave. Now this word Bhikkhave has many connotations. It doesn't have to be related to the monks. It can be addressed to anybody. Because we know in the context of Satipatthana that the Buddha has taught this sutta or the teachings of the sutta even to the beginners, even to the accomplished ones. To everybody, Buddha taught this sutta. So you don't have to be a monk or a nun or whatever. If you are a human being, you are having this quality of being attentive, of being aware, this teaching is for you. This teaching is for everybody. This teaching is for one and all. And that shows that the quality of the teaching is universal. It is not just meant for a particular class of people or a group of people. It is for everybody, every human being. So the Bhagava is addressing us, is addressing every human being. And that we have to bear in mind. But in this context, now the Bhagava is addressing the monks, and according to our teacher Nagajiva, Bhikkhave has a very universal connotation. It includes all of us. Whoever shares the teachings of the Buddha together, they are qualified to be called the bhikkhus, Bhikkhave, So very sort of very deep meaning that Venerable Nagajiva has brought into. So one of the meaning of bhikkhu or bhikkhave is a sharer of the Dhamma. So we all share the Dhamma, and we have been doing that continuously for last 2.5 years. Each of you is involved in understanding and practicing the teachings that have been handed down to us by Venerable Nagajiva. So the monk's response, Venerable Sir. So that's the beginning of the sutta. Now, the Buddha goes like this. There is only one way, O monks, for the purification of beings. You see, when we study the sutta, we have to study very deeply the meaning of each and every word that has been spoken there. Unless we do that, we do not get the clarity of why we should practice it. So the Buddha says that there is only one way. Now, we have to understand this word one way. And in Indian context, the word is ekayano. Ekayan. Eka means one and means vehicle. And there are many meanings of the word eka and yana. So the word is ekayan, one vehicle, one way. But we can also take it as everything that has been taught here in this sutra converges on one thing. Towards what? For the purification of beings. So whatever teaching there is in this sutta, it only converges on one single thing. To what does it converge on to? It converges on to what is called the purification of beings. So the teachings or the various meditation practices which the Buddha has recommended or taught in this sutta, they converge on a single point. What is that point where these teachings of the Buddha converges on? They converge on the purification of beings. So what we are trying to seek? What is the goal of the Sunya meditation practice? Is to purify our beings. And we study the sutta, we practice the sutta for what? To purify our beings. I'm going to read it again, because it's very interesting and very important for us to bear the goal in our mind at the beginning. There is only one way, O monks, for the purification of beings. And what else? For total bypassing of grief. Grief means dukkha. There is this very important technical word which has been introduced by the Buddha called dukkha. And our master translated it as grief, removing all pain, and discontent. So the word dukkha has a very broader meanings, like the word sati. Discontent, pain, suffering, dis-ease, not at ease. Many times we are not at ease because we are wandering in the wrong domains. We are overpowered by the animalistic instincts. So what is next? For total bypassing of grief and removing all pains and discontent. What is the goal? What is the way leads to? What does the way leads to? To attain the right path and to witness the nibbana. So you see, why do we practice? Why do we study the Satipatthana Sutta? For the purification of a being, for our purification, for the end of dukkha, for removing all pains, discontent, and to attain the right path, and to witness the nibbana, the nirvana itself. Very high goal. But the Buddha also gives us the path. And Buddha says, assures us that if we practice like this, we are sure to realize the nibbana. So what is that way? Namely, the 4 foundations of sati. So I said that the domain of sati is in the 4 areas, and we have to understand these 4 areas very, very clearly. I'm not going to go into all of the details because we are going to do it over the course of our classes in the next coming weeks. But let's have the preliminary introduction to what we have. Which 4? Right here, you see the word, the choice of the word that has been used by our master here. Which 4? What are the 4 domains? What are the 4 foundations? What are the 4 grounds where we should establish, cultivate the awareness? Right here, see the word here, right here. So we begin to understand the connotation of the word sati right here. The present moment awareness. What is happening right here? Now we know the quality of our minds. Our minds are either dwelling in the future or in the past, or we are planning something, or we are having some fanciful ideas in our head. And if you remember, sometimes Venerable Nagajiva has said like this, that even if a $1 billion idea appears in your mind, don't follow it. Just follow your breathing. Don't let your mind go crazy here and there in the past, future, ideas, plans. What you do right here at this moment. A monk observes the body as just the body. So the first Satipatthana is technically it is called the awareness of body, Kayanupassana. If we need the Indian word for it, it's called Kayanupassana. The word for body here is Kaya. And we are going to look at what does the connotation of Kaya imply, what is the body, and how does Buddha ask us to cultivate the awareness of body. But the key word here is right here, not in the past, not in the future, not in the fanciful ideal world. Here, right here. A monk observes the body as just the body. Just the body. Isn't it? We don't give it a coloring of ideas or philosophical gloss over it. We just try to observe the body as just the body, and we are going to see how we are going to do that, how we are going to practice it. Then very important words that are coming here. Focus. We have to bring that focus. That is what is all about when we practice the mindfulness or awareness of breathing as taught by Venerable Master. Anapanasati. We try to bring our focus to the phenomenon of breathing, isn't it? Focus. The next word is fully aware. We try to be fully aware right there, open. As I told you, the sati has a connotation, feminine connotation, to be open, to be receptive. fully aware. Observance, we observe. We bring that quality of observation. And we are going to see that. We are going to see how do we observe the breathing. When we study or practice the Kayanupassana or what is called the awareness of body, we are going to look at that as to how do we observe, having removed the greed and sorrow from this world. Very profound. So you look at this words, we think that they are just simple words, but if we look at it in the context of the sutta, each word has that quality of liberation, has that quality of taking us to the purification of our being. And likewise, the Buddha goes on talking about the remaining three. He observes the feeling as just the feeling, focus, fully aware, observance, having removed the greed and sorrow from this world. He observes the mind as just the mind, focus, fully aware, observance, having removed the greed and sorrow from this world. He observes the Dhamma as just the Dhamma, focus, fully aware, observance, having removed the greed and sorrow from this world. So you see the four Satipatthana. And I would like you to remember this important words: Kaya, Vedana, feelings, Vedana. But the feeling is not the perfect word for what the Buddha talks in terms of Vedana. It can be close to what we can see in the sensory feelings. We look into this. So the first Satipatthana is, the first ground is our own body. So Kayanupassana. The second is Vedananupassana. The third is mind, Chittanupassana. And the fourth is Dhammanupassana. Dhamma means the way it is, the reality. And it also means the teachings of the Buddha. So you see, today, I would like to remind you of these four words that are so important for us. And wherever we are, we can commit those words to our memory. Kaya means body, Vedana means feelings, Chitta means mind, and the fourth, Dhamma. Very simple words. And if we want to know more about it, we can attach the word Anupassana. So the first ground where we cultivate the awareness is our body, Kayanupassana. And the order is very important. That's how we train ourselves, so that we purify ourselves. We begin with the body, because the body is very concrete. We can directly experience our body. So we begin with what is called the Kayanupassana. Then we gradually train ourselves in what is called the Vedananupassana, then Chittanupassana, and finally the Dhammanupassana. So let me recapitulate what we have done today, and then we will open up for our discussion or any clarification that you would like to have. Satipatthana Sutta is the very foundational teaching of the Buddha, which is sort of the heart of the practice of purifying our beings. And all the practices in the sutta converge on or leads on to one thing, that is the purification of beings, for the dukkha nirodha, for the end of suffering or grief or discontent, to experience the nibbana itself. It leads to the experience of nibbana itself. That is the aim of Satipatthana. And we know that this by practicing this, all of us can realize the supreme bliss, the supreme, in the words of Venerable Nagajiva, the peace and prosperity. This is I would say all the practices here converge onto the goal of peace and prosperity. So let me open up this class today for any further clarification that anybody would like to have. And from the next class onwards, we are going to look at the sutta in terms of the various practices and how we are going to cultivate the sati. Yes, please go on. You can unmute your mics and raise questions. Yes, Vinay.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Vinay.
Sir, as you elaborated on Kaya, Vedana, Chetana, and then Dhamma, can you please elaborate once again on the concept of Vedana and Chetana? So, what does the actual Pali meaning of that Vedana connotes, so that we can understand it exactly? Because literal translation we get confused with Vedana is also connoted with the pain, word pain.
No, this as I said, Vedana has a very technical meaning in this context. Vedana is not as we talk in terms of in Marathi or Hindi language.
Right, sir.
Not that Vedana. It's not that pain. Vedana, the close translation of that in Indic language will be Samvedana. Okay, so whenever we encounter any object, we have this, whenever we touch any object by our senses, there is a sensation. So we can say sensation feeling. The near translation of the word Vedana in English will be sensation feeling. Okay, so what we will do, you just keep this word in mind that it has nothing to do with Vedana or pain. It is Samvedana, it's sensation feeling. Does that clarify, Vinay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. It has nothing to do with this pain that you get when you cut something or when you are not well. It's not about that. It's Samvedana, it's sensation feeling. Okay, so whenever we encounter the word, there is a sensation, there is a feeling, and we will look into that. The third word is not Chetana, it's Chitta.
Chitta.
Chitta means mind. So Chittanupassana. So how to cultivate the awareness of mind? That is one of the aspects of the Satipatthana. Is that clear to you, Vinay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Please feel free to get clarified anything. If we cannot clarify anything in this class, we can go to Nanacharya Nagajiva and ask him questions. And I would encourage all of you to please and ask questions to Venerable Nagajiva. Please feel free to contact him or ask the clarification. If something is confusing in the classes here, please go on and ask questions or clarifications to Acharya Nagajiva if we cannot do that in this class. And one day we will invite you to give us the very concise sort of the teachings of Satipatthana. All right, anybody? Okay, let me look into chat what Shruti is saying. Yes. The Shruti has sent us a link to the sutra, the story that I mentioned you, as to how we are overpowered by the animalistic instincts if we dwell in the realm of sensual world. But if we practice our cultivation in these four Satipatthana, Kaya, Vedana, Chitta, and Dhamma, we are safe. So anything from anybody at this moment, or everything is clear to you?
Mangesh, good morning.
Yes, Rajesh bhai. Good morning, bhai.
Yes. So my question here is,
yes,
what is as you said, every sutta has the basic purpose first, the reason that why it was spoken. There should be a reason why it comes into existence. Why is this sutta come into existence? Why had Buddha had to speak this sutta?
See, as I said, that the teachings of the Buddha has two sort of broadly two sort of goals, is to bring certain kind of changes in the way we live. isn't it? And another is to offer us the way of practices by which we can realize our own minds. So this particular teaching, as I said, that it's mentioned in the several sections of the Tripitaka, like in this is mentioned in the Majjhim Nikaya, this is mentioned in Dig Nikaya as Maha Satipatthana Sutta also. So the context, if you ask me what was the immediate context, I don't know. And if you know the immediate context, please share with all of us. But I think every time the Buddha, it's said that the Buddha was propped or asked a question by somebody as to, somebody will come out with a question to the Buddha or some kind of a query to the Buddha, and Buddha will start answering that. Here, I'm not aware of any context by which the Buddha was inspired to talk about Satipatthana.
Even I don't know. Maybe that is a very good subject of that we can explore. Even I don't know.
Yes.
So
yes.
maybe we can ask somebody's help. Even maybe we ask our teacher, and or he would give us more light on it. Okay.
That's a perfect idea.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I think if none of you is having any clarification to be sought or any comments, it's an open class. We don't keep these barriers between because we are all studying it together. It's not that somebody is a teacher or somebody is a student. It's not like that. We are studying it together to get more clarity so that we can practice, so that we can realize the goal of the sutta. So please feel free to ask anything. Don't feel afraid or shy of raising questions or anything like that.
I think even people can share because they have been reading this sutra for some time now, and they have heard. So maybe they can share their even some point of views also. We are okay to hear them out. It's always good to share what you have taken from this sutra, and from that we can be able to share that with others also. So definitely it will be good. If you ask me what is the essence that I got from it, was to cultivate awareness, which is one of the most difficult things that the mind has to, it's like getting the horse tied up to your caravan and then taking him on a ride. The mind is like that. So the whole sutra basically teaches you how to get the awareness back, always keeping yourself in the state of awareness of your body, your feelings, your mind, and when it comes up to Dhamma, it is very, very vast. It means interaction with everything that is around us. So I think, and these four foundations, they become the basis of our existence. If we exist, is only because of these foundations, and they are our essential being. So, and when Buddha is talking about purifying and the practice of purification, I think it is very, very indicative. And Mangesh sir, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that when he's talking about purification of the beings, these four things that become the foundation of our being, he's talking about this same thing, that how we will not be having any adulteration in our understanding of our own body, our own feelings, our own mind, and ultimately the Dhamma itself. So that is what I understood from it.
Very beautifully said, Rajesh bhai. It's very beautifully said. Very nicely put.
Yes, Vinay, go on.
Yes, sir. I want to ask that I now understand the concept of the Kaya, Vedana, and Chitta. But what do we mean by the Dhamma, the concept of Dhamma?
Okay, as
awareness about the Dhamma, if we literally say.
Okay, that's a good question. See, the word, the words that the Buddha used, sometimes they have many meanings. So one of such words that the Buddha used, which is having many meanings, is the word Dhamma. Okay, one of the meanings of the word Dhamma is the object of mind. Just like the object of our eye is the sight or form, or the object of our ears is the sound, the object of our nose is the smell, the object of our tongue is the taste, and touch is anything that we touch. One of the meanings of the word Dhamma is the object of the mind.
Object of the mind.
Okay, one of the meaning is that. One of the meaning of the word Dhamma is the reality, the way it is. And without going into much technical details today, which we will look into in the course of our classes, another meaning of the word Dhamma is the reality itself, the fundamental principles of everything. Like there is a fundamental, principle of everything, fundamental reality of everything. We should be very wary of using this word reality and all. But the fundamental nature of everything, that is another meaning of the word Dhamma. Another meaning of the word Dhamma, of course, is the teachings of the Buddha. The teachings of the Buddha is called the Dhamma. And there are many meanings that we can look into. But I think at the moment, if we keep these three connotations of, it's a polyvalent word. It's not, it doesn't connote. The Buddha was a master teacher. So he didn't have this rigidity in the sounds and the words. But the way he taught, using these very skillful words, we have to understand the meaning of those words in the context of the teaching. So here in this context, the Dhamma is the reality, the Dhamma is the teachings of the Buddha, and we are going to look at it as to how we can be mindful of even the teaching of the Buddha, how we can be mindful of the reality itself. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Rajan sir, do you have? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Rajan sir, please go on.
Yeah. See, the context can be only the purification of the beings, no?
Yes.
See, why these monks and all, or great people or his disciples must have assembled there only to learn about how to purify the being, because man is always in chains, no, pain or discontent or grief or all these things, no. So how to come out of it? Also, he has got a lot of questions about himself. Why should I come here? Who am I? All these questions are also already there. So
Yes,
how to get clarified with all those questions and get out of, all these griefs or whatever it is, and finally to purify, because everybody, all those who have assembled there must be looking towards the nirvana.
Yes.
Okay, and he is the master or teacher who can provide it.
Very true.
So that's what I feel in this. The context of purification of being. Yes. Okay. And for that, he is providing the 4 pillars, like looking at the body, feelings, mind, and dhamma. Finally, taking them to the what is the final stage of it, nirvana.
Yes.
And who are aspiring for that?
Yes.
It's not for everybody who are aspiring for that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I feel.
Yes. You're right. It's universal teaching. It's because everybody, each one of us, have this. We are in the grief. We suffer because we don't see the way it is, and because we have ignorance, so on and so forth. So it can appeal to everybody, irrespective. Anybody who would like to get rid of this very heaviness of suffering, the grief, isn't it? We all have that experience, but we don't look into it. We are just like that quail lost in the domain and ultimately taken over by those animalistic powers, isn't it?
Yes. The quail might have gone through all these 4 pillars. By the time, the second time, this, the hawk might have reached it.
Yes.
Okay. That is why he could not catch it.
That's why they couldn't catch. We are all susceptible to be caught by this very mighty hawk all the time.
Yeah. And these words, in Pali or in Sanskrit, it has got a very in-depth meaning.
Very in-depth.
We cannot sometimes understand or digest.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. We can only just give what you call near meaning.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's the beauty of it, Rajan sir, because if we, there is no concrete meaning. We have to continuously explore what is body.
Yes.
Isn't it? There is no end to we are going to look into that when the Buddha goes into the details of body. We are going to look into that when the Buddha is going to go into the details of Vedana. We are going to see how the meaning of the Vedana changes. Like just when I was thinking that Vedana is about the pain, or in our Indic languages, Vedana is something painful, right?
Yeah.
But here the meaning of the word Vedana is not that, it's sensation.
Yes, of course.
It's a feeling. If we say, for example, if we encounter something pleasant, the feeling that arises in us is the pleasant feeling. We want to have it. If we encounter something, something that we don't want, the feeling that arises is what is called the unpleasant feeling.
Yes.
Isn't it? And if we are not aware, there is no feeling, and we just passively accept everything. There is no awareness.
Okay.
So what the Buddha is asking us to cultivate awareness 24/7.
Yes, yes.
And that's the beauty of it. That's how to live like the Buddha. Aware 24/7. Not just on our cushions, but also, bring that awareness in all the domains of our life.
Yeah.
Very good. Anything else? If not, because we are now.
Sir,
yes.
One more question. Interestingly, I remembered one story which I heard in my childhood, that once Ananda and Buddha was visiting, and suddenly a mosquito bit him. And suddenly after that, it was just a natural reflex or something, very genuine reaction which we all intend. But after that, Buddha repeated the same action very slowly, how it happened. So is this story or fable also related with the mindfulness or openness or awareness we are talking about with Satipatthana Sutta, which I am really trying to understand from your great depth of knowledge. So does that story, when we create our awareness about every small simple action,
see,
does that relate?
Yes. Venerable Master Nagajiva is very clear about how we practice the awareness, because there are many schools today which talks about cultivating the awareness like a robot. We don't want robotic awareness. That's why I said that the sati is this openness. Sati is this very natural way of being, isn't it? So slowly walking, slowly doing some activities is not satipatthana.
Okay.
Slowing down is not satipatthana. Becoming mechanistic is not satipatthana. Becoming robotic is not satipatthana. We have to bring the awareness to our body. We have to bring the awareness in the domain of Vedana. We have to bring the awareness in the domain of Chitta. We have to bring the awareness in the domain of Dhamma. And we will study that. It's not that we have to become very slow, walking slow, become robotic like that, or become mechanical like that. So I'm not aware of this mosquito story. I'm sorry for that. But this is what Venerable Nagajiva has been teaching us. We don't have to become robots. We have to cultivate that open awareness. We have to be receptive to the experience of body, the experience of Vedana, and so on and so forth.
You see, Mangesh, if you see very clearly it is mentioned today when you were teaching purification of beings, he's not talking about purification of of becoming something or was something. He's talking about the present being that you are. Whatever you in this process, you will be brought back to your present moment of awareness, and that state of awareness is automatically the most purified state of awareness. So it is definitely a validation that how you can bring your mind into a state of being, because we are beings. We live every moment, and I think that is what this whole sutra is all about. How do you bring yourself or cultivate that awareness that you will always be a being, not a becoming or not a was be, and you will be a being always, because suffering is something to do with the past and desires are always something to do with the future, and this is beyond all that, of being. I think this is my understanding.
Yes, I think the word beautifully put up here by Acharya Nagajiva is right here. Right here, at this moment. The sati sometimes is translated as the present moment awareness. And there is one very nice sutta where Buddha talks about how to cultivate the awareness of this very moment. Not, because our minds, as you said, are dwelling in the past. What I have done. We are repenting. We are blaming ourselves. What I have done. Or we are imagining the future, worried about future, what is going to happen. what's good. But what Buddha says, you cultivate awareness right here at this moment, because your body is here. Just become aware of your body. Just become aware that you are breathing. Just become aware of the quality of your breathing. Just become aware of your bodily processes, the posture. Is all that is there in the Satipatthana Sutta. So Rajesh bhai, you are right, right here. And this is a very sort of a liberative feeling if we talk about right here. Present moment awareness of body, of sensations, of mind, what's happening in the mind.
So we have two more questions, Mangesh sir.
Yes.
Fabiola, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Fabiola.
It's maybe a foolish and simple question.
Don't worry.
At the beginning, you say that the word sati, it means awareness or mindfulness. But what it means patana? What it means patana? Because
Patana, yes. Patana, yes. Patana, as I said, taking our mind near to. Taking our mind near to. That's one meaning of it. So I told you that we all have this rudimentary awareness. We all have awareness. As I said, that you are listening to me because there is some kind of awareness. But we have to cultivate the awareness of the body. So Patthana means the right place where we can take our mind to. As we saw, as Rajesh Bhai was saying about, what's happening, our being, which is body, which is our sensation, which is our mind, and the reality of all these things. So, Pathan means taking near, establishing, foundation.
It's like the way we take our body.
It's like?
It's like the way we take our body.
Yes, it's like taking our awareness to. Now we can take our awareness to anything, like, right? Tabula? Yes. But here we are taking our awareness to these 4 foundations. So you can say this Pathan as the foundation, the ground, our natural domain.
Yes.
Okay. So as it is translated by Jnanacharya Nagajiva, foundations of Sati. Sati Pathan means foundation of Sati. The ground for Sati. Is that clear?
I get it. Very clear now.
Okay, Fabula. Okay. We will discuss. We will clarify, because this is all about clarifying the terms for us, so that we can practice better.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fabula. Hari Babu.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, Hari Babu.
Coming back to the word of Vedana again. So in general, we have that word, sir, in Telugu as well as in English. In both the ways, it is communicating as physical and mental painful suffering.
Yes.
And when it comes to the context, as you said, no, sir, a sensation.
Yes.
Even in that particular context also, a cell capable of transmitting or sensing the signal of painful signal only it is indicating, even at the point of sensation also.
Yes, you are right. But what happens, sometimes there are pleasant sensations.
Yes, sir.
So if you see some nice food, you don't have this painful Vedana. You have this the Vedanas that would prompt you to indulge into that. If you see some beautiful flower, then what happens?
Yeah.
Okay, so this Vedana, I can understand the confusion about the word Vedana, because in the Indic languages, now the connotation of the word Vedana is painful experience, right?
Yes, sir.
But a lot of words have undergone a lot of changes and their meanings have changed.
Yeah.
Isn't it? For example, I will just give you an example. At the time of the Buddha, the word for indulgence was raga.
Yes, sir.
But in Marathi language, raga means anger.
Yeah.
But also there is another meaning of raga, means in the music.
Okay, okay.
It has to do with, intelligence. So what I'm saying is, we have to understand the word from many different meanings and contexts.
Yeah.
So here the word Vedana is a technical word which is used by the Buddha, which means the sensation feelings.
Sensational feeling, particular to the painful sensation.
No.
only.
No. It can be painful. It can
It's
be.
not a pleasant. I feel.
No. You please understand this. It can be painful. It can be pleasant. It can be both painful and not painful. Neutral.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So there are three feelings.
Yes.
And to put it in the technical terms, Sukhada Vedana, Dukhada Vedana, na
Yes.
Sukhad, na Dukhad Vedana.
Okay.
You got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. I'm going to go into that. If we have a pleasant feeling, our mind actually want to indulge into that object.
Yeah.
And that's a
Maybe,
poison that the Buddha
sense
has.
of pleasant feeling maybe we may be indicating as in the terms of another word, not as Vedana, I feel.
Yes.
Mm.
Not the, don't
Mangesh
take.
sir, can I add something here?
Please.
So the word Vedana, if you look at it, the root word is vid. Okay, vid means to know, from which the word Veda also comes, to know. Okay, so vid is to know. To know a sensory feeling is what Vedana is. So it could be good, or as you said, it could be bad, it could be this or that, whatever it is. Some sharp object touching me, I feeling some softness, all these knowing is Vedana. To have the knowledge about some sensory experience, I feel is what, if you go with the word from vid to Vedana, it will go like that.
Thank you, Mangesh and Rajesh Savira sir. Thank you very much.
All right, then I think we are having reached 1 hour of our class today, and my only request is that next time you just read the things, and we will have the same format. We will just discuss for 30-40 minutes, and then for 20 minutes we'll see how we go about it. And questions, please raise the questions, because they are very important for us to learn. So thank you so much, especially Rajesh Bhai and Manju Bhai, who have been very generous in having this particular course started, and extremely grateful to all of you for having joined us today. Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much for taking. Bye-bye.